Grace of God is keeping me too, so I'm also doing very well. We thank God for a new day like this, and being
Yes.
the last day of February. We have every cause to thank God once again, because it's not everyone that saw this day.
Yes, it's true.
Some people were able to make it to 2026. Even some were able to make it to yesterday, but they were not able to make it to today. And others also made it to today, but not in good health. Others not in sound mind. But if God has given us all this for free, then it is by His grace. So we thank Him so much for what He has done. And I also want to welcome all of you from far and near. One is a distance education, like the name goes, distant. That means sometimes we are very far from each other. So we want to welcome all of you to this platform and then to this session of your academic journey. So once again, you are all welcome.
Thank you, madam.
All right.
Thank
But
you.
it appears I'm hearing only two voices. And on the platform, I'm seeing about 17 participants. So let me say 15 participants. All right. So my name is Rebecca Adwoa Amponsah. And for the next few weeks, we are going to be together to learn, to explore, to research, to build, and to design. So that is what we are going to do for the next few weeks. Let's say 12 weeks. So as time goes on, I think I'll give you the opportunity so that you also introduce yourself. But as I started with, let me ask this question. Am I permitted that we can always start the class with prayer?
Yes, madam.
All right, thank
Yes,
you.
madam.
Thank you so much. If I have your permission, then I will please need one of you to pray with us so that we can start the session properly. Okay, Winner.
Let's pray.
Okay.
We begin this section in the name of God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father, as we are come to start this session, I pray everything that is going to be taught stick in our heads. In the mighty name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
All right, thank you so much. Your prayer is very short but powerful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Just that there is one part that I want to go. Is that everything that you are going to be taught? In my class, we learn. So we are all going to learn.
Okay, ma'am.
So I'm not going to teach for you to learn. We'll all teach each other and then we'll all learn from each other.
Okay.
Because when it comes to distance education, we are already dealing with professionals, IT professionals, and so on. Most of you are already in the field that you'll be sharing your ideas, especially when it comes to your experience. That will help us. So sometimes I will also be learning from you, and then you will also be learning from. So we are going to learn together. Okay. So the course is please can you see my screen?
Yes, madam, we can see.
Yes.
Is it the LMS or the PowerPoint?
The PowerPoint.
PowerPoint.
No, I'm sharing the LMS first. So you let me go back and then look at it. So the course is CICS 301. Just a minute, okay. I want to share the. Is it showing now, please?
Yes, madam.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so the course is the course code is CICS 301, and the course name is Database Management Systems. So that is what we'll be studying together within the next few weeks. Now, when we say database management system, what does it mean? It really involves a lot, which we'll be looking at as the week unfolds. So on the LMS, I have provided the course materials, though not complete. So I've put few ones there. The course book that we'll be using is already there. I put the slide as time goes on, and when we use updates or the notifications so that you can look. What are we looking at, or what will we be looking at? The course is divided. The main content of the course is about the fundamentals of a database system, knowing the fundamentals of a database system, your data or gathering data that we are putting inside the database. So we first have to what is the database and why do we need it and how do we do it? And after building it, what else? So that is what we are going to do. When we talk about it, we are all using database every now and then. Someone has built it and then you have zero knowledge because you're already using it, building databases here and there. Just that this is the time that you want to academically add it to your career. So some of you already have the practical experience. So you just want to do the theory and then add up to it. So we'll be gathering experience from all of you and that. So with a course that's about database system design and data management. So what does it entail? We have divided the content into 6 units, as I've already mentioned. So in the unit 1, we'll be looking at okay, so my system is taking just a minute. I opened the page down for a while, so it got logged out. So let me quickly log in. Okay, so with the course content, as I mentioned, when we look at the unit 1, we'll be looking at introduction to database system. And even before we build a database, we know that database is based on what? Data. So what is data? We'll be looking at what is data, what is an information. Then we'll be looking at data hierarchy, database, and then database management system, the role of the database management system and its functions, some types, and then when we talk about data redundancy and then data anomaly, what are they? So these are some of the things that we'll be looking at in the unit 1. Then come to unit 2, we'll look at the data modeling or data models. How do we model our database? Please, I believe you can hear me very well.
Yes, please.
Yes, please, you are audible.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll be looking at data modeling and then data models, business rules. That is things that help us or what enforces the structuring of our database or even gathering of the data. We look at the business rules that influence our database management or data gathering. Then we also look at the relational databases. When we talk about relational database management system, what does it mean? We'll be looking at entity relationship model, then object-oriented database model, as well as what we call the big data. So that's what we'll be looking at in the unit 2. Then to unit 3, we'll look at the relational database model, where we'll be considering things like the logical view of a data, and then the physical view of a data. Then we'll also look at the keys, some keys that are considered when it comes to data management, and some integrity rules that govern our database management or our data management. Then we also look at what is called relational algebra. Then we look at data dictionary and then some system catalogs such as the data schema and so on, and then indexes. Then we'll move on to unit 4, where we'll be looking at the entity relational modeling. So we'll look at attributes, we'll look at relationships, we'll look at the ER diagram, and then the database design challenges. When we are designing our database, do we even have any challenge? And what are those challenges if we really have one? And how do we overcome them? So we'll be looking at those ones as well. Then in unit 5, we'll look at database normalization. Those who love football. I think when somewhere, is it 2001, they said we're going to do normalization in Ghana football. So I don't know how that one was done. But one thing I also know is that in database too, we normalize. So when you talk about normalization in database, what does it mean? And then what are the types of the normal forms, or what are the types of normalizations that we have? So all those things will be treated. Then we'll also look at the conversion, that is moving from one normal form to the other, and then denormalization as well. Then in unit 6, we'll be looking at the structured query language, that is SQL, a language that helps us to manipulate or manage our data. So like I said, we are still updating our, so before we get here, you see the models that fall under unit 6. But over here, we'll be looking at the data definition language and then the data manipulation language. So at this point, we'll actually be doing a practical work. So what I want us to note is that this course is a practical course. So as we go on, there's a time that we'll be building our databases. Okay, now let's look at the objective of the course. So I'm switching from here to the PowerPoint. The main objective of the course is that by the time we finish with this course, we should be able to understand our data, whatever data that we get or we have, we should be able to understand that data. We should be able to know how to structure the data. And then we should be able to design the database structure for the storing of the data. And after the data is stored, we should be able to manage how to retrieve that data, that's data accessibility. When we have data in our database, though we need to give access or provide access to that data, but we need to also control the access of the data so that we don't give access to data to unauthorized users. So this is the main objective of the course. Now, the course assignments or the course assessment, how will it go? With the course assessments, as we know, per the institution policy, we are working in an institution, so we all work within the policy of the institution. So at the end of the semester, your final assessment involves some components. And we have 4 main components. So we have assignments, we have quizzes, we have mid-semester exams, and then we have end-of-semester exams. So the assignments, the quizzes, and then the mid-semester exams will take up 40% of your total 100 score, while the end-of-semester exams will take a 60%. But normally, with me, not with the institution, what I do is, because the course is a practical course, so I mostly give practical projects at the end of the semester. And that practical project hello.
Yes, madam.
Yeah, I just realized I muted myself. So I don't know when I muted myself, but I believe you heard me. So, okay, then let me ask, where did we hear up to?
The practical projects. You were talking about the practical projects.
Oh, okay, thank you. So that means I was just muted, but that was the last thing that I was talking about. Okay. So normally I give a practical project, and that project is marked as part of your exams. So I mark it either 20 or 30%. So you build that one and then give us a presentation on it. So if we are to be having a face-to-face per the academic calendar, we'll be having 2 face-to-face sessions. So if it is not canceled, then that means the last face-to-face session will be used for that practical presentation. So that is scored as part of your end of semester exams, mostly 30%. And then your written exams will also be scored as 30%. Because sometimes, it is, I find it unrealistic for someone to build an application, you go through all the practicals, you do this, you do that, and then we are marking all that as an assignment for 10%. Then you only go and sit down for 1.5 hours. Sometimes some people even finish within 30 minutes. I will be using that one to judge you or to judge your capability of passing the course, especially when it's a practical course. Do and let us see. So that is how I do my course. So you'll be writing a practical exams in addition to the written. Okay, so that is for the course assessment. I don't know if you have any objection to that, or contribution or addition to that?
Madam.
Okay. So
Yeah,
with the
madam.
some of the, yes.
I wanted to ask a question based on the project you were talking about. Concerning the project work you're talking about, is it going to be in a group form or is it going to be an individual? Thank you.
Oh, okay. For the project is going to be 18 students. Okay, let me say I'm seeing about, is it 14 or 15 students here. So we will people are we expecting? Do you know your colleagues already? I think you're already in the program, so you know yourself. Course rep.
Madam. Hello.
Yeah.
Please, I'm here. Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, hear me, please.
Please, I can hear you. Hello.
I think there's a network problem.
Hello, madam.
Hello, can you hear me, please?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. It appeared somewhere along the line you could not hear me. Okay, so I was asking how many students we have in the class. So course rep, how
For now,
many?
I know of 13 students, but I'm now collecting the list of the class, so they are not done writing their names in.
Okay. Okay. So let's say at most 20. So that means we'll be doing it in groups. And since the class size is not too big, it will even help us. We'll have maybe 2 people in a group, or at most 3 people in a group. If the group becomes too big too, a lot of people do not contribute. So is your question answered? Please, the project will be done in it's a group work, it's a group project. So Adam, is your question answered? Mr. Adam?
Yes, madam.
Is your question answered?
Yes, please, it's answered.
Thank you. So it's going to be a
You're
group
welcome.
project. All right. Please, any other question before we continue? Question? Any other question? Can we move on?
Madam, please, the the screen, we can only see chapter 1. I don't know if it's only my end, but the chapter
Sarah.
1. Hello, madam.
Uh-huh.
Please, we can only see the chapter 1 of the screen, the slide.
I don't know if it's from my end or from your end. Your line is breaking. I could hardly hear you.
Okay, please, can you hear me now? Hello?
Yeah, Sarah.
Hello. Please,
I couldn't.
okay, so the screen, we can't see it. It's just the chapter 1 that is visible to us.
Please, am I the only one who could not hear?
No, I think it's a general problem. The network is very bad.
I think I can hear, but she was asking that you are projecting chapter 1. That's what she's seen. But I think that is what you are projecting. Ariam, I think that's what she's projecting now. So
Yes,
we can
yes, yes,
proceed.
yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm projecting now. I'm done with the introduction from the LMS. So Sarah, yes, I'm projecting chapter 1 for now.
Okay, thank you.
Madam,
Yes.
please, concerning the LMS, is the course materials already uploaded over there, or you are yet to upload it there, please?
I've already uploaded some. I've uploaded the course book itself.
Wow.
Then two
No
of the
problem.
and two of the slides. That is the chapter 1 and the chapter 2. They are already there.
Wow. My own is empty. That's why.
Your own is empty.
Yes, please.
Please, has someone else checked?
Yes,
And is it empty or you saw something?
I saw something.
The interface I opened, you saw everything in your
Yes,
account.
yes.
Okay. Any other person who has also checked? Has any other person checked from the LMS? But the page was updated last night. So my brother, if you checked it before last night around 11 p.m., you wouldn't have seen anything. But if you check it now, because I enabled it from 11.
Okay, for now, it's still no announcement has been posted yet.
And you don't see any information there, even the welcome message and nothing.
No, I haven't seen anything. It's just the course outline on top of it, an announcement on that. But generally, it's a general news and announcement. No announcement has been posted yet.
But my question is, if it is telling you no announcement, I don't know whether maybe the other updates. So that you don't see any information there at all, no write-up on the course, nothing.
No. Yes, nothing, please.
Then maybe you are in the wrong page. What is the course code that you are seeing there?
The course code is CSSA12.
CSS. Then you are in a wrong page. This one is CICS 301.
The course over here are all
The gentleman who said he has checked, were you also using CSS?
No.
Please,
So
Madam,
Saki,
I've seen mine. They have also seen mine.
You have also seen yours. So please, is it Adam or Stephen? I think you are the only, you are the odd person here. And with the course code that you are mentioning, that's not the course code.
Wow.
So you are in the wrong page. Okay. That's why you are not seeing. The course code is CICS301, Database Management System. So I don't know if you enroll yourself or someone enrolls you, then tell the person to enroll you into that class. Is that okay?
Yes, madam.
All right, thank you. So please, any other question or contribution concerning the introduction that we have done so far? Can we move on?
Yes, ma.
Thank you. Okay, so now let me mention that, sometimes when we are dealing with online classes, when the class is face-to-face, I see you, you see me. I can walk to you direct and then ask you questions. But with the online, we are all far from each other. We are only logically connected. So let us try so well to interact. And in fact, I am very happy the way you are already interacting. There are some classes you join, you ask even yes or no for them to respond, they will not respond. So let me commend you this morning for the beginning, the wonderful beginning that I'm experiencing. I'm so much happy about that. So let's keep it up. Let's make the class very interactive, because we are not here to read for somebody to listen. We are here to discuss. All right. Then let me ask this question. Have you done web application, or you are now doing it? Have you done web application? Have you done web application already? Is it web programming or web application? I don't know how.
Yeah, it's part of our courses, but we haven't yet tackled it.
Oh, part of this semester's courses.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Because if you have already done web, it helps to give you a better understanding of the database, because always the database is the back end of the web. So when you do web programming is the interface or the front end, and the database is at the back end. So when we are communicating in that order, you get a better understanding. All right, so what do we need for this course? What do we need? In knowledge-wise, I would say if you have done the web, it would have been an added advantage for us. But since you are also doing it alongside, it's equally good. And then when it comes to software, or let me start from hardware, because it's a practical course, please, we all need devices. And that is either a laptop or a desktop. Okay, so we all need a hardware. That is either a laptop or a desktop, but not a smartphone. This one, we cannot use a smartphone for it because we'll be installing some platform which we cannot do on the smartphone. So please, let's get that. And then when it comes to software, please, you will have to install a platform known as XAMPP, XAMPP. I'll put all those information on the LMS as we move on, because they're all going to be part of your assignments, the next thing to do, and all that. So I'll put everything there. So you have to install the exam. And like I said, since we are dealing with professionals, I know some of you are already familiar with that platform. So you are going to share your experience with us over here. Okay, so these are the requirements of the course. With the knowledge base or the prerequisite knowledge, web application is very necessary. So since we are doing it alongside, that is fine. And then when it comes to hardware, you need your laptop or your desktop. That will help us. And then when it comes to software, we need the exam platform to help us. So these are the basic requirements of the course. Okay, so please, those of you who are already in the field, who already have experience with what we are going to do, we will need you so much to be sharing your experiences in class. And we will also need you to be supporting your colleagues who are now entering into the field. And so those who are also now entering, who do not have much idea or no knowledge at all about database systems, database management, I want to ensure you that it is not difficult. It is as easy as A, B, C, D. We just have to follow the necessary procedures and then processes and then standards, and then it is easy for us to catch up with. So if you know one of your colleagues who are already in the field, don't hesitate to contact the person. All right. I have shared my contact information on the LMS. As I mentioned, my name is Adwoa Amponsah. My number and my email is already on the LMS. So you can contact me, but I will prefer WhatsApp to calling. Sometimes the calling is not convenient. So you can send me a WhatsApp. But let me plead with you that sometimes when you send a WhatsApp, it will take a time for me to respond. Because normally I program myself. I access my WhatsApp at most 3 times in a day. So early in the morning when I woke up after my devotion, I check my messages, reply whatever I have to reply to. Then I have to get to work because social media is taking most of our time nowadays. So if we don't program ourselves, we'll end up using the whole day chatting. So early in the morning, during break time, that is if I get a chance to go for break, and then later in the evening. So these are the 3 periods that I normally chat. So when you send any message and within an hour or 2 you have not received the response, please be rest assured that once I assess it, I'll reply or I'll respond to you. And for that matter, let's also, when we are sending a message, because now I don't know you, you don't know me. I don't even know your names, apart from the short name. Most of you didn't even use your full names. So when you are sending a message for the first place, institution from this class, because you know, for teachers and lecturers, we do say a lot. So we are moving from one place to the other. Engage you very well, or as you will require. Thank you so much. Any question, anything you want us to? Are you with me?
Hello,
Yes,
Madam. Hello.
Yes.
Please, I wanted to ask a question.
Hello, Saki.
Please, I wanted to ask a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay, so with regards to the software that we'll be using, maybe aside, I don't know which software we'll be using
Yes.
aside the exam, but is the school going to provide the software? We have to go and look for them and download it on our own accord.
Please, XAMPP is free. It is an open source platform, so it is free.
Okay, so it's just the exam that you'll be using throughout the course.
And the size is very small, so you can finish installing. the school is not providing it. But I don't know, maybe if you go to the ITS and they will help you, but it is free. You can easily download it.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
okay? Yes. All right. Any other question, contribution? Can we move on? All right. Thank you. So I guess we can move on now. Okay, so database. Please, are you seeing my screen? Is my screen up?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Database. When we read Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, the Bible said, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. And the earth was formless. The earth was formless. So meaning there was no form. You cannot really tell that it is standing, or it is squatting, it is triangle, or it is round, or whatever. Everything was scattered. And he continues to say there was darkness on earth. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. But even before he said, let there be light, he said, and the Spirit of the Lord was hovering over the waters. So the earth that was dark, and there were waters or water all over the earth, and it was formless. Meaning there was nothing good in there, there was nothing meaningful in there. So now the Spirit of God was hovering over it. And that hovering, meaning it was looking out for the possible way of making it look good, or making it become a proper place of living, making it appreciable. So when he finally found a way of doing that, he said, let there be light, and there was light. That is the nature of database. So before we start database, we have data. And if I should ask of the definition of data, I know you are all going to say data is a raw fact that has no meaning. So you see that our God is architect, and he has given us part of his spirit. So he said he created us on his own image. So God created us to also what? Build, just the same way he also built or built. He has given us that power. So data is a raw fact. You pick data, you don't know what to do with it and all that. But once you have that inner being in you, that is the ability to think, to reason, or the ability to think, understand, and then reason, and to make a proper decision, you are able to put things in place to make that data meaningful. So that is database. By the time we finish with this first unit or this first chapter, what are we going to cover? Or what do we expect to cover? What's our objective? So we'll be looking at the differences between data and information, what a database is, the various types of databases, and why they are valuable assets for decision making. Databases are valuable assets for decision making, but why or how? And then we also look at the importance of database design and how modern databases evolved from the initial stage up to where we are now. So these are what we'll be covering. Now, our learning outcome or learning objectives. So in this chapter, we'll be looking at the flaws in file system database management, and then the main components of the database system, and then the main functions of a database management system. So these are some of the things that we'll be looking at. So if I say data, data and information, I believe we use and we also provide data. So we use some data and we also provide data to some people in one way or the other. So let me first ask a question. Before you started schooling in GCTU, how did you apply? So someone should share his or her experience with that. How did you apply? Ladies and gentlemen, are you with me?
Okay, so madam, please, before you apply, we just bought the form online.
Okay.
And then the login details were sent to our emails. And then we log on to the system, provided our information on the and details and all the requirements. Then it was submitted. Yeah, so that was the process that we went through to apply.
Okay. Did you provide your data or you provided your information?
Yes, so provided my data.
Okay, but initially you said you provided your information. I wanted to understand. All right. So any other opinion? And then we should also be thinking about the next question. So after we submitted, because that's where he ended, then he submitted. After the submission, what's next? But any other opinion on the application, how you applied? Is there something different from what he has said?
No, ma.
Okay, so that means we all follow the same process. We went online, provided our data, whatever they requested, or we provided everything, and then we submitted. So after they submitted, what again? What happened? What next? So from a different person.
Okay, so after the submission, I think the school reviews the data that we provided to them, and they verify if everything is correct and we meet the requirements. Then admission was given.
Okay. But how did you know admission was given?
They sent us emails and text messages.
All right. Does the text message include your name?
Yes, please. And the program that was offered.
Okay. All right. So looking at that process from the beginning to the end, where we initiated the application process, finished everything, submitted, and then the school also did something. Even though we were not there, we could clearly tell that they actually did something. And then after that, they communicated back to us. The data that we provided to them, you open the form, your name, first name, last name, middle name, contact, whatever, and then you're putting in all those things. Where were they saved? Was it just online there on the page where you put it and then that was it? I don't know if you understand my question.
They were saved in the database, the system's database.
Okay, so they were saved in the database. All right. Now, you as a student, when you go there, can you still see your data that you provided to them? In any other way, not directly, maybe going to that form, the application form. But is there any other way that you can still see that data that you provided to them? That these people, I gave them my data maybe 2 years ago. And when I log into the system today, I can still find my data. Do we see that data? Hello? Or
Yes,
we don't?
please.
I see.
Okay, so we still see it. Sairam. Is it Sairam?
Yes, please.
You still see it. So how do you see it? Which data have you looked for, and then how did you see it?
Please, it's been uploaded on our student portal, so we can see from the passport to the passport pictures, and then our Ghana cards information, and we are even allowed to edit and all that.
Good, that's very good. So that means we have provided data to them. It wasn't missing. They were able to keep it, use it for whatever they want to use it, whatever they needed it for. Then, now whenever we need that data, they still give us access to that data. They have believed that. Do we believe that they have added some data to what we give them? And if no, why do you think they've not added anything? Yes. Mr. Tete, do you believe they have added some data to what you give them?
Madam, please no. And the reason is because they want to maintain the integrity of the data we provide.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't know whether you were here. It appears the network is not stable.
Yeah,
So I was asking whether you believe they have added some data to what you gave them.
no, I don't think so.
You don't think they have added any data? Okay. Any other opinion?
Okay, for me, I think they've added data, like something like my index number. Before I apply, I wasn't having an index number with Ghana Telecom, and I have an index number.
Okay. All right.
Yes, and a Gmail.
So they've given you a Gmail account as well.
Yeah.
Any other thing? Have you ever checked your results? Or this is your first time of joining the school, so you've not had any results with them?
Yeah, this is our first time.
This is our first time.
Okay. So very soon you'll be checking your results and all that. So what I'm trying to say, or whatever I want us to understand, is that whenever we provide in database, we provide data, which we call we say raw fact. Data is a raw fact, have not yet been processed to reveal their meaning to the end user. So when you went online, they said surname, then you provided Sairam. Sairam, what's your surname?
Ziu.
So surname, then it says Ziu. First name, then you put Sairam there. Telephone number, then you put 0244123123. So you were putting all these things. All those things were raw facts. Yes, when I see Sairam, I know it's a name. But does it make any meaning? No. They said telephone number. You put 0244123123. When I see that 0244, that tells me that this is a telephone number, but does it make any meaning? No, it doesn't. So they collect this individual data and then put it together. So when it has been put together, that is when we produce a meaning out of it. So we put your entire record to say, okay, this is someone called, that's the first name of the person, the last name of the person, that is the person's contact, that is the person's, how do you call it, previous academic performance. So we put all these things together, then it becomes an information about you. It becomes something meaningful about you that describes you. So at that point, then we say we have your information. And that information develops to become a knowledge. But before we get to information, the data that we have collected should be managed. Should be managed. That is data management. So data storing it, retrieving it, and sometimes even modifying that data. So at the point was generating the data from you. So you were filling the form, and then they were receiving that data. So that's the data generation. And then when all those data was to save that data very well in a nice structured manner, so that they can always retrieve it as it is. So that is the storage. Then later, and look at your performance, your previous performance, compare all those things, the program that you have selected, and to make a decision and finally conclude that, oh, data retrieval. That has been stored, and that you can of sending. You put some XYZ, XYZ. First, put some strange character there. Telephone number, you put something there. When it's been generated, it's been stored. But when they retrieve it, is it meaningful? It is not meaningful. So it is when they are able to understand whatever data that we have provided in a better structure, then we can say we have an information. Please, are we okay? And for we to say we have an information, we are saying that whatever data that we have, which is meaningful, and we are saying that it's an information, should be accurate. It's my screen showing.
Yes, madam.
Good. Because I'm using my mouse. So we are saying that that information, it should be accurate. Then it should be relevant. So relevant in the sense that we are giving you a form, fill. We need your data, we need your name, your date of birth, your program that you want to do and all that. And then you are feeding in something that is not meaningful to us. Whatever you are putting in there, is it relevant to us? Select a program or put in a program, then you are typing something that we may not even understand, or you are providing some health results, some lab results. Is it really relevant? So it should be relevant, and it should also be timely. It should be provided within the time at which we need it. So once you don't provide it at that time, though it's an information, but it is not really, it's not meaningful to us, we don't even need it. All right. So when the the information that we give or data that we have processed to become an information, when it is accurate, when it is relevant, it is timely, it helps us to make a better decision. So with the time, let me also mention this. They have opened the portal for admission, and admission closes on 28th February. And you have waited when it was May, because they didn't lock the page was so in May, you go there to provide those information or your data. Your data is accurate. Whatever you have provided is accurate. It is relevant to admission, but because it's not timely, so it is not really needed for decision making. We will not even take decision on it, whether we will be admitting you or not. Are we okay? Okay. So let's move on. So when we have this data, like your colleagues or some of you have already mentioned, it should be stored. And in storing that data, that is when a database comes in. So we have to store the data in a database. So a database, what is a database? We say a database is a shared integrated computer structure that stores collection of end user data, which we call the raw fact. And it doesn't store just the end user data. It also stores what we call the metadata, which is a data about some data that you have provided. Data about data. So database doesn't store only the data that you have provided. That is whatever we generated from users, but it also stores metadata. Later, we'll get to know more about metadata. Then we come to database management system. I should have asked this question because we have experts in that. So what is the difference between a database and a database management system? Am I permitted to know those who are already in the field, those who are already managing some databases, building some databases? It will help us, please, so don't hide it from us. And we have some people already in the field.
Yes, Noble.
Oh, okay. Noble. But I can't find his name here. Is he online? Okay, I've seen. Noble.
Hello?
Yes, Noble.
Madam.
Yes, I learned you are a highly professional.
No, please.
Oh. I don't know how many months, sir.
Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. But you deal in databases, right?
Yes, please.
So that's good. So can you help us? What's the difference between a database and a database management system?
Hello?
Hello? I want you to help us with the difference between a database and a database management system.
Hello? Madam? Hey.
Yes, no, but I can hear you.
Okay. Madam, please, the question again.
The question is the difference between a database and a database management system.
Okay. Database, they are organized data stored electronically. Hello? Hello?
Please continue, we can hear you.
Madam, please, do you hear the first one, the database?
Yes, I did. So continue.
Yes, please. So the database management system, it allows you to create or have access to the database.
Okay. So any other opinion, please? Because I know it's not only Nobo that has the
Okay, madam.
experience. Yes.
The database, my understanding on it is stored information. Stored information, and the database management system is the tool that manages it.
Okay. Okay. So now let me ask, when we have data in a database and we don't have the database management system, can we access that data in the database? Can we see it? As users, can we see it?
Please, the question again.
The question is, when we have data in a database and we don't have a database management system, can we see that data that we have in the database?
No. As I think the data can only be visible to the one in charge of the database.
It can only be visible to the one in charge of the database.
Yes, ma'am.
Without the database management system.
The database management system allows the user and the database to communicate. Without the database management, the user won't know. That's what I think.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So someone said no. And I think the one who just has also made it clear. Without the database management system, you cannot access the data. You can't use the data. You can't manage it. A database, from what we have here, is what? A computer structure. It is a structure on your physical memory. That is your secondary memory where you store your data on the computer. It's the same thing. That's where the data is stored. So you cannot see it with your physical eye that this is my data stored here, this is my name, this is my ID, and all that. Until we get a database management system, which is a software, an application software that helps us to collect the data and then store that data into the system and also manage it. So to retrieve the data, to store the data, to retrieve the data, to modify the data, or to even delete the data, we need the database management system. So the database itself, database is just a structure, a storage structure on our local machine on your computer. So it's the management system that is a tool, an application that helps you to manage the data that you have. So it's a collection of programs that manages the database structure and controls the access to the data that is stored in or on the database. So what is it meant for? What are some of the rules? It helps us, or it serves as an intermediary between the user and then the database, because you cannot have access to the database if the DBMS is not there. So it becomes an intermediary, a platform that helps the users to access and then manage the data. It enables data to be shared. Talking about data sharing, per the scenarios that you gave, you have shared your data with the institution, or you've given your data to the institution. That data was shared among all other departments, all required departments within DCTU. That is why they were able to create a bill for you. You didn't give your data to finance. You just saved it for admissions. But admissions share that data with us, with me. That's why when I go to my LMS, I can see your records over there. So we share it to present the end user with what? an integrated view of the value and then provided your data. But at the end of the day, they can put all those data together and generate a list and call it that this is IT level 3. Distance education students, and there are examples. So these are some of the roles of the DBMS or the database management system. So the DB and then the database. So when we look at what we have here, let me expand the image a little. So we have some we also have systems. So now you are all using some application to put in your data or request for data. These people are also putting in data or requesting for data. So just like what we discussed about your admission. So whatever data that we are processing, it goes through the database management system. It goes through a database management system and then come into the database structure, which is on your local machine memory or your machine's local memory. That is your primary memory where your data is. No, your secondary memory where the data is stored. The primary memory is for processing. So that is it. So over here, it depends on what kind of data that we want to provide. Here they are giving us what? Customer data, invoice, products, and so on. But in your case, we are having what? Students' data, we are having bills, we are having hostel data, library, and also all those things. So that is how it works, or that is how the DBMS interacts with the user and the database. So it serves as an intermediary between the database and then the user. So advantages, I think for this one, when I ask you, even when you have closed your eyes, you will mention 1,000 of database advantages. Am I lying? You will mention a lot. So I think we can move on so you read on that. And then when it comes to types of databases, when you talk about database, we have different types. So we have a single user database. We have a multi-user database as well. And then we also have the centralized database, distributed, and so on. But the main, talking about types of databases, we have two main. So we have one, the single user database, and we have the multi-user database. So under the single user, that is whenever we have a desktop database. So you have some single machine somewhere that you have installed some database on it, or maybe deploy some small access database on it that you are using. That's for a single user, just for you alone. But when it comes to the multi-user database, then we have several of them. We have what we call the web group. We have the enterprise databases. We have the centralized database. That is when we install a database that we can install on one particular server. Then we have other clients connecting to it to access it at the same time. With a single user database, it's only one person at a time. But with a multi-user, as we can have multiple human users or device users or other system users to connect to it, to be using it at the same time concurrently. Then we also have distributed databases. That is when we have databases that are replicated across multiple servers, but communicate and then perform their function as one unit or one single database. Then we also have cloud databases that we are all using now, using our Gmail, Google Cloud, even our WhatsApp servers, whatever, Amazon, and a whole lot. So they are all what? Cloud servers that we use, and they are all types of they are all under the multi-user database. So millions of people can connect to it at the same time. Any question? Okay. Then we also have the general purpose database, which contains a wide variety of data used in multiple disciplines. Then we have the discipline-specific database. That's when it's a particular database that has been designed for just a specific thing, and it cannot be used for, or it is not used for any other purposes. So for instance, if we should take the meteorologist, their database that they use is customized specifically for them. So it cannot be used for any other purposes. And then we have what we call the operational database. Operational database, they are all part of the, or they are categorized under the multi-user, always for the day-to-day transactions that we perform. So we go to bank, some people are withdrawing, others are depositing, others are assessing loans, we are taking balances and all that. So every day we are performing something, or every day we are working on that. The database is being updated on daily basis. That's what we call an operational database. So on daily basis, the data in there is being updated. So the same thing happens to GCTU, our students database. It's also an operation, especially when it comes to admissions period and all that. Even when it's not admission, there are other processes that are happening to update the data on daily basis. So that is the operational database. And we have databases that just help us to analyze data. And in most cases, those databases are referred to as the data warehouse. When we build data warehouse, that's when we use those ones. So for analytical purposes. So for those databases, we build them not to be updating the content in there, but we only generate historical data. So on daily basis, we pull records from the operational database to update the analytical databases or the data warehouses. So just for analysis purpose. For instance, let me take some banks. So let's say we have a bank that has several branches across the globe. And every day there are transactions going on here and there. So we can say that, okay, at every quarter or within every half year, we run updates from the operational database to update a particular one, which we call the data warehouse or the analytical database. So that will give us the balances as at a particular period, which will never be updated. So at any point in time, we can do analysis that, okay, let's analyze something from January 2020 to date. From January 2020 to December 2020, what was the flow of deposits? What was the flow of withdrawal? Now let's compare January 2021 to December 2021. So we can do that 5-year analysis. And we have all those data. But with the operational data, you cannot get the values for the balances for 2021 again, because it's been updated. All right, sorry, I have to mute myself a little for something. So with operational databases, we can't use them for analysis because the users' balances might have changed. They have been doing deposits, they've been withdrawing and all that, so the balances changes all the time. So we can't use that one for analysis purposes. That's why we need the analytical database or the data warehouse. Please, any question? Okay. But I believe you can hear me. I believe my voice is audible. The network is not too stable, so please, when it goes off, kindly let me know so that. So still under the types of databases, we have the unstructured and then the structured. We have unstructured, structured, and then semi-structured data. When we are building our databases, the database is built based on what? The data that we have. So we need to know whether the data that we have are structured data or they are not structured data. If we are talking about structured and unstructured, when I pick data about you as an individual, I can structure it. That means I can provide, let's say, a tabulated format to store that data. So one field will contain your ID, another field, your surname, your first name, your age, your program, and all that. So we have that structure. When I build that structure, I can put any other person's data inside that structure. So that is a structured data. So is that it results from what? Formatting. A structure is applied based on type of processing to be performed. So we can just format the kind of data that we want and then how we want to process it, we can format it. But when we are taking unstructured data, they are data that we cannot structure. For instance, when we take signals, when we take locations, when we take cannot be put in a particular structure. Meanwhile, we still build database to store all those things. Sensor, help us to know how to structure our data. So if we know the kind of data that we want or we have, and then of our database. So if we are designing our database, what do we consider, or what is designing of a database? We said it focuses on data. Well-designed data to generate an accurate and valuable information. But when the structure is poorly designed, then what happens? It will cause some error, it will cause some complexity in the data, and that will even make it difficult for us to access our data. Please, any question up to this point? Hello, are you with me? Or is
Yes,
the
please.
class is so quiet? The
Yes,
class is so quiet. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, so now talking about database. How did database started? It started from the manual file systems that we know, where they will print a Word document for you. Initially, when you are filling an application form, you have to go to the post office, go and buy hard copy sheets. And then you come and sit down and then be filling it. You finish and then you send it to them. So that is the manual file system. So now they will collect all those files from you and then go and buy what we call a file. And then they put it in it. So that is how they started. So previously, you go to the hospital and then they say, we are going to bring the patient's file. And most of those files are corrupt. Others, sometimes they can't even find it. They'll go to the folder room, say, they will not find your file. So later, either they have to create a new one for you to lose the rest of all your previous records. And that has been happening over time. Even now, it is still happening in some institutions. So that is how it started. Then we moved on to the computerized file system. So now you go to a point that there is a computer, the person sits behind the computer, but he has to open Word, or the better part is what, Excel, that we still put in your data in there. And then we move to the productivity tools. So from the manual file system to computerized file system, either using a text file or Word document or those things, then to the productivity tool, that is Excel, and then from Excel, now we moved to a database. So now we can have some databases and so on. All right. Now, talking about database, if you want to create a database, there are some few things that we have based on a structure. It is a structure that helps us to store data. So there are some data which we already know. Then we also have field. We have something we call data hierarchy. So when we have data and then we have another point, then that affects the structure that is changing or expanding the structure of the data. So from data, we say data start growing from a single character. Data starts growing, or we start developing data from a single character. For instance, if I ask of your gender, you say male or female. But in a situation where it's F or that a single character, but it is data. For when we pick your form and we see that F beside the label gender, we know that it means you are a female. So data starts from one character, a single stroke of key press. Then it gets to a point where we can combine a group of characters together to give us a meaning, or that describes something, some part of the object. So at that point, we got into what we call a field. So let me take my example again. We have picked you as a student. We are collecting your data. So when I ask of gender and then you put F, or we give you the choice to choose F or M, it is one character. It is still a data. When you have a child, you take the child to the hospital, and then they ask, how old is she? Then you say what? 1 year. So maybe you write just 1 or 2, based on the way the structure is. So you provide only 2. 2 is a character and it's a data. Now, there's a point where you can add multiple characters to form, or combining multiple characters to form one unique data. And we call it a field. So example of a field, IDs. So this number, you have more characters, which is starting from 8 to 10 characters. Surname, ZIW, ZIW, I believe I'm right. 4 characters put together. So in that case, now we don't have a character, but we have a field. So if we are gathering data and we need your student name, your surname, we say we have a field that contains the surname, a field that contains their ID, a field that contains a remark. So that character can start from that field. When we take a field, can start from 1 character up to whatever number of characters that we want. Please, are we following?
Yes, madam.
All right. Then the next level of data hierarchy, that's when data is growing. The next level is what we call the record. So the record is a logically connected set of 1 or more fields. So now when we pick you and we pick the ID is 1 field. Surname is another field. First name is another field. Program is another field. Then what again? Maybe level and all those. So all these are what individual fields that we put together, and that become your record. So right now, all of you, when we go to GCTU students table, you will find your records there. They are all just 1 line of information, which is being put in what different fields. So we always say we have the patient's record, we have the student's record, we have the customer's record. It is 1 line, 1 row of information which is put in different fields, or different fields put together to describe an object. That is the record. Then when we move from record, then we now go to file. And the file is when we put multiple records together. So now we have records for Noble, we have records for Nyaku Andrews, we have records for Seiram, for Collins, and so on. We have your individual records. When we put it together, then we now say we have a file. So we can now say we have students file. But we use the file when we are dealing with filing system. But when it comes to database, then we now say we have students table. So it is file or table. So we deal with what students table when it comes to a database. And now when we have multiple of these files or these tables together, so we have gathered all your information that's for student information, your basic student information. We have all your personal data in there, which is the student table. Now, when you came, they generate bills for you. So you all have your records in the billing table as well. We have the billing table that have your records in there. That's also another table. You've started lectures. Very soon you'll be writing exams. So after the exams, we'll be processing your results, or even before results. Now you've been assigned to what? Classes. So when we should have table that manages classes, we have all your records, we have classes table, we are going to have your results table. So we put all these individual tables or files together. Then we can now say we have a database. But it's not just putting them together, we say a logically related. When we have logically related tables, then we now have a database. So we cannot have students' records, then we add patients' record to it. We have some customers' records, then we put everything to them and say we have a database. No. But there should be data that are related within a particular context. Then we have our database. And as I explained earlier, when database also grow, we generate records from multiple databases, put it together, then we now move to a data warehouse. So that is the hierarchy of data, starting from character to field, to record, to file or table, to database, and then finally to a data warehouse. Any question? Can we move on?
Yes,
all right. So
yes, madam.
All right. All right. So here they are just giving us some examples. So this is what our sales department, they are generating their files and so on. Personnel departments are also generating their files and information. So they put all together and then we can create a database out of that. Okay, so now let's look at So talking about file systems, we have some problems. Or let me quickly do this. Talking about file systems, not database. What are some of the challenges that we can have with file systems? Hello.
Hello, madam.
Yes. What are some of the challenges that are associated with file systems?
Madam, please, your line is breaking.
Poor security.
Okay, so poor security.
Inconsistency.
Inconsistency, very good.
But they are difficult to maintain.
Difficult to maintain. Yes.
Data corruption.
Data corruption.
Security problems. Data security problems.
Data security problems. Good. If I allow, you can even mention 1,000. You can mention 1,001 of that. And all these challenges becomes an advantage to a database. The challenges of file system becomes an advantage to the data, to a database system. Because database came to resolve these challenges that we have. Pardon me, we didn't hear you.
Sorry, madam.
Oh, okay. All right. So database came to resolve these challenges that we have with file systems. So they are all here, lack of security, and then limited data sharing, extensive programming, and so on. All right. So now when we come to database, we say what? We structure. It is database itself is a storage structure. So if it is a storage structure, then there are some dependencies. It depends on something. We are preparing a structure. So the structure depends. We don't just get up and say, I'm preparing a structure. The structure depends on something. So here we say we have structural and data dependencies. So we have a data that we are storing. We are gathering, storing, retrieving, modifying, and all that. And that data that we are storing is based on a structure, or is going to be stored into a structure. I believe you are getting the concept. So a structure, and then the data that we are putting inside the structure. So always our data depends on a structure, and the structure also depends on the data, because before you can provide the data, before you can provide the structure, you should know the kind of data that you have. And whatever data you have is also going to be stored into a particular structure. So we have the structural and data dependency. So they depend on each other. So when we say structural data dependence, what do we mean? We say the access to a file is dependent on its own structure. All file system programs are modified to conform to a new file structure. Structural dependence. Structural dependence. An access to a file is dependent on its own structure. So if you want to access a particular file, for you to be able to access the file depends on what? On the structure. Then we have the structural independence. The file structure is changed without affecting the application data. So a data about students. And per the structure, one field for ID, one field for surname, one field for and so on. That is the structure. And that structure has some data in it. So if you are saying the file is what? Structural depends. So if it happens that we change something in the structure, it will affect the next thing that we need to do. We have a structure. So let's say that, and we are fetching data, or we are storing data into these 10 fields. Then now, all of a sudden, the data that we are storing, we have added 1 to it. Meanwhile, we know that the actual bringing into the structure, we are making, or the structure, that is the movement, the logical movement of the data depends on the physical structure that we have. So since this structure has changed, it's going to affect the main or the physical structure. So in that case, we are dealing with a structural dependence. But when it comes to structural independence, the file structure is changed without affecting the application's ability to access it. So we have the logical side, where we are mentioning, okay, we are putting data into this field. And now the data, we have what? 10 fields. But physically, the structure that we have, let's say we have 10 rooms and we want to put items in it. The items are, initially we're having 9 rooms. We're having 9 rooms, and then we're having 9 items. So let's go and put these 9 items inside the 9 rooms. Now, we have expanded the room, we have added 1 more room, but we are still having the 9 items. Will it be affected? No, the structure will not be affected. So it's not independent on the logical structure that we are bringing. So it is 9, we can still fit it into the 9, and then the 1 other structure that we have added will still be there. So we have to criticize that even though the physical structure has changed, it's not going to affect the logical structure, whatever data we are bringing in. But with the structural dependence is saying that once you have changed the physical structure, the logical structure will not be able to work because it solely depends on the physical structure. So these are some of the things that we need to consider as we are working on our database. And the same thing happens on the other side, that is the data independence. So we have data dependence and then data independence. So with the data dependence, also data access changes when data storage characteristics change. Data access changes when data storage characteristics change. So we have a field, and the field is named as surname. And that surname has the data in it. Now, as we are going to retrieve, or in our code, that's why I was asking about the web application. So in our code, where we retrieve the data, we have written a query that select surname. Select surname, because we know that the physical structure, the data is what? Surname. So here we've written select surname. Then all of a sudden, now you have changed the name from surname to last name. So once you have changed it to last name, we have to also change the accessibility. The query that is accessing that data, you have to change that one also from surname to last name. If you don't do that, it will not work. So that is about the dependency. So the physical access or the access will also have to change when the storage characteristics change. Then we have the data independency, which is also the opposite side. So data storage characteristics is changed without affecting the program's ability to access the data. Any question up to this point? Is it clear? All right. So the next thing to look at is data redundancy. Then we have data anomaly. But I think our time is up, unless if you want to give me some 10 minutes. If you want to give me some 10 minutes.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Please continue.
All right, thank you, so that we can finish it up. So there's something we call data redundancy, and I believe we all know the word redundant, but it's an English word. So that is unnecessarily storing same data across different places. So you have filled the form, you have provided your personal data, student name, student ID, and all that. Now, when we go to the billing table, then we'll still go and provide your name, your first name, your surname, and all those things there again. Meanwhile, when we pick your index number, we should be able to identify who you are across all the tables. So now here we are saying that when we are designing a database system, we have to be mindful of this data redundancy. So we don't structure the system to be storing the same information across multiple locations. Once you are doing that, you are creating data redundancy. So in the billing aspect, the name are still there. We go to payment, first name, surname is still there. We go to hostel, first name, surname is still there. Meanwhile, the person has an ID, which can be traced out throughout all these departments, and then we can easily find your records. So we have to be mindful of that. So when we have this data redundancy, some of the implications is that we have what? Poor data security, data inconsistency. Someone mentioned that in the file system. File system, we encounter data inconsistency because there is what? Data redundancy there. The file that we send to the payment or to accounts, that place too, we have to duplicate your name. When we send it here, we have to duplicate your name. So when it happens that you have changed your name somewhere, it may not even reflect on the other side. Then we are having data inconsistency. And then increased likelihood of what? Data entry errors. At one point, your name is Seiram Ziwu Abigail. At another point, they will say Ziwu Abigail Seiram. At another point, you see Abigail Ziwu Seiram, a whole lot. So data entry errors and all that happens. And whenever we encounter this data redundancy, it leads to what we call the data anomaly. This develops when not all of the required changes in the redundant data are made successfully. So your name is in the students department or students table. They have repeated the same name in the billing table, in payment table, in resource table, here and there. So if it happens that you have changed your name, maybe you have made a change of name, you swear an affidavit to block your data. Definitely you bring it to only one point, that is the front desk or administration. They have gone ahead to do the change over there, all right. But they could not forward that file to all other departments to do the change. So therefore, you go to one point and then the old name is still showing. You go here, your name is different. So that is data anomalies. And we have 3 types of anomalies that we normally face. The first one is update anomalies. So that is what the scenario I've given. You have changed your name. So we just have to update your records. We have updated at one point without affecting the other point. So that is an update anomaly. Then we have an insertion anomaly. Sometimes when we have multiple records that will be taking your data here and there, the possibility of the data being entered at one point and not being entered at the other point is also high. So you can have some students in a particular institution. In the students table, as admissions table, they are there as students. But you go to billing and then no bill has been created for them because their data is not what linked. So they are running this redundant data. So it is like they didn't insert it in one part of the system. So that's the insertion anomalies. And then we have deletion anomalies where we are running this redundant data. The possibility of if we have to delete some record, if we have deleted it from one part, but the other part, we couldn't remember to delete it. So these are the 3 types of anomalies that we normally encounter when it comes to data redundancy or when we don't check our data redundancy. Once I've already explained almost everything, so for that you can just look at it and it's very explanatory. The functions of a database management system. So therefore, data dictionary management, data storage management, data transformation and presentation, security management, multi-user access control to control the access of many users that access a database. Now, GCTU, we all access the same database, but we all have different interfaces that we see, or the functions that we see when we log in, depending on your role. So you as a student, you have what you see, as a lecturer, what I see, as an accountant, and so on. So user access control. Then we have backup and recovery, and then data integrity management. So these are the functions of database. Advantages and disadvantages, we've already discussed that. So that is it. All right. If there is any question, please, you can ask. Otherwise, we bring the session to an end. Any question, please? Sessions, contribution, clarification, even critiquing. So if there's something you want to critique, please go ahead so that we all take it together. Is there anything? Okay, if there's nothing, thank you once again for today's session. So God willing, next week we will continue. But please be visiting the LMS also there. So let's try so well to be visiting the page. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
Please, can you repeat what you said? Because we didn't hear. The network was breaking up.
You didn't hear me?
It was breaking up.
Yeah, the LMS part.
Class. Is this stable now? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Now. Hello.
You can't hear me. Yes, we can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Uh, all right, thank you. I'm sorry for that, but I don't know how to. But I want to say I was asking if there is any question, contribution, or additions to whatever I have said, or clarification. But if there is nothing like that, me now. Are you hearing me now?
Yes, madam.
Yes.
All right, okay. Then I also mentioned that please you should be visiting the LMS because we'll post some assignments there. We'll be posting some assignments and then some updates over there. So please do well to be visiting the LMS as often as possible so that you don't lose track of any information that we put, especially when it comes to assignments with deadlines. All right, so thank you so much.
Thank you, madam.
Enjoy your weekend. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye, madam.
Bye bye.